What's good, everybody? I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you're making your dreams come true. I hope you're living life, pushing through, persevering, making things happen. If you fall down, make sure you get back up, all that kind of stuff, right? All right, so I wanted to do a discussion about a couple of videos that I saw. One I played 2 times on my live videos. Are you watching my live videos? Are you checking out the live videos? You know, there's a tab at the top there, right? So you go to videos and you slide over and there's a tab. Hit those live videos, a bunch of live videos. So make sure you hit the bell notification button in your subscription to make sure you get notified when I upload or go live. All right, so I played the video a couple times and I'll play it here again. And I'm gonna follow that up immediately with another video. So here we go.
I woke up this morning and I thought about it. As a black man, we are the only people on social media platforms that seem to create extensive content on dragging each other down. Our men spend much of our time talking about how horrible our women are. Our women talk about how horrible our men are. Our women talk about how horrible our women are. And what is that all about, really? I don't see where other groups, maybe I'm just not in the know, but I don't see where other groups just take their public platforms to just degrade and dehumanize and diminish their own. But we do this, and then we want to know, why is it that we can't seem to develop relationships, healthy relationships within the black community? I think it boils down to a self-hatred. I don't know if we really like ourselves or not, because I cannot look at a person that looks just like me and have all of these negative things to say about them without that being a reflection of the fact that I don't really feel good about myself. Now, I know I may get some flack for this, but you got to at least think about it. What does that say about us, that we have all of this to say? I woke up this morning and
Y'all watch this, come back and I'll discuss it, and then we'll talk about it.
Either directly or indirectly, this is the message that I was raised with growing up. Y'all know me, Miss Aisha, licensed therapist, 100% Gen X, Trent, New Jersey. I was raised with the narrative that life is harder for black men, that they face discrimination that me as a black woman, I don't face, that they are denied jobs, they are denied access to resources, they are denied loans, they're denied opportunities that I have as a black woman because I'm not seen as threatening, right? And because of that, I need to lower the standard and lower the bar, because I have to keep that reality of racism and discrimination in mind when I'm thinking about black men. That's the message that I received. I'm only speaking for myself. Y'all let me know if you received that same message growing up.
I co-sign everything she said. Go follow her. For a lot of black women, this is definitely the narrative that we were fed growing up. It's hard out there for a black man. Make sure you care for your black man. Fix his plate first. Give him the big piece of chicken, because life is hard. Don't call the police on a black man. Don't snitch on a black man. You gotta protect the black man. But how many of us grew up knowing that actually the world is harder for us? And we're the most disrespected demographic people in the world, black women. And even more so, we learned that black men were a part of the disrespecting of us. I'll never forget back when I was married to my abusive ex-husband. He had choked me and I called the police on him. And I remember his mom yelling at me saying, "You never called the police on a black man." Now here's the thing. That black man knew he was black when he was committing the crime against you. Oh, so now you mistreat me and now I'm supposed to consider you and all the stuff you go through? We risk getting arrested and hurt to protest for violence against black men. But as soon as one of us is violated or hurt, I wonder what she did to deserve it. Well, I heard that she was lying about it. I heard that it was a skit. I heard she was kind of egging him on and taunting and teasing him. She was lying. She probably did something to deserve it. Who's standing up for and putting together a protest for us? Black women, we do the work. We put the committees together, the time and the places, and we do all these protests. And then when it's us who needs the support and the help, we're met with questions and skepticism.
All right, so we checked out those videos, and it's really troublesome. On one hand, I believe the man is a bishop, and I believe that he has put together he's really kind of synthesized what's going on in the community to a large extent, in an unfortunate extent. And then we get to sisters who follow up. And one, I think the second one, I didn't play all of it. It's just a clip. It's actually worse than what she's reacting to. As you can see, it's a reaction video. It's no secret we're in a mess. It's no secret that we have issues. It's no secret that we're doing this, that we're in this place. But the question has been asked of me and continuing to be asked, what do we do and how do we get out of this place? How do we build strong families? How do we not give up on each other? And this is a question that, people have often posed is the community dead? I did a video about the culture. The culture is the problem. We're trying to do some things to fix that, trying to make some headway, and it's going to be difficult, but we need all hands on deck and all people, including, especially in my estimation, smart people, business owners, people who are driven, directed, goal-oriented, therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, lawyers, doctors, all professional people to really kind of chime in on this and really try to make things happen. I am not one to excuse the negative and poor behavior that has been exhibited by men in the past. And I would say quite clearly and quite loudly, if there's any issues that men have had to change, whether it's abusiveness, inability to remain faithful, alcoholism, drug addictions, traumas from the past, I'm not saying a woman has to deal with that or tolerate that, but you got to understand, as men, when you engage in those type of behaviors, you not only ruin your own reputation, you ruin the reputation of other men. It's unfortunate, but it's true that they lump us all in the same group and all in the same category. We're all looked at the same. You're all no good, all this kind of stuff. And then the other part of that is, you drive people away, you ruin the reputation, and of course you traumatize the woman. And she's going to pass that trauma on when she trauma bonds with her friends, her co-workers, her family, and children. When she tells them, your daddy wasn't no good, you're no good, my daddy wasn't any good, my brothers aren't no good. I've had ladies tell me, all this is anecdotal, I recognize that they don't know any positive male role models in their life, right? They don't trust male leadership because they've never been around strong, positive male leadership. Conversely, I've never been around weak male leadership. I mean, I talked about my time in the police department, my time at church, my time at boys club, my time at the summer camp, YMCA summer camp. There's always strong male leadership. So, I haven't seen anything but that. But if people are growing up in these environments where, that is a thing, then I can get how and why they would think the way that they do. I would understand how and why they think the way that they do. So, my condolences, maybe it is condolences, because I really feel bad for the young lady, particularly the second lady in the video, because she's just been hurt, traumatized, and wants to point the finger, point the blame, and all this kind of stuff at men, and all that. So I would say, I would say go listen to the fullness of her video. It's an 8-minute long video, not a very long watch. I'm not going to steal all of her content, but go over and watch it. And it's really unfortunate that what she has undergone and has no faith and confidence in the very men who she should have faith and confidence in. When I first watched the video, my first question was, is that black women are the most unprotected. I mean, what statistic is showing that? We got to be very careful with these numbers that we're throwing out here, because a deep dive into, and if I need to do this, I will, a deep dive into domestic violence numbers, intimate partner violence numbers, demonstrates that partners, in particular the black community, is really, a lot of it is largely bi-directional. That means they're both starting the fights. They're both fighting with each other. In fact, when you look at just the term intimate partner violence, the women are the ones who commit the most intimate partner violence when you include the elderly abuse and when you include young children. When you just the whole term intimate partner violence, you look at all the statistics, when you lump them all together, women are the most. I'm not saying that to gloat or anything like that, but this idea that these men are just brutes and we're just violent, we don't know how to solve anything besides our fists and all that, it's not necessarily the case. It's not necessarily the case. So we take advantage of people and we victimize people. We take advantage of people and we victimize people based on our ability to. And I guarantee you, if women were just as strong, they would be just as violent. These numbers about the numbers about homicide rates and all this kind of stuff, intimate partner violence and homicide rates. These numbers, you got these numbers, man. You can't just go off of all these different stuff that people just kind of throw out there. You got to really dig into the numbers and what they mean, what they look like, and who's committing what acts of violence and how many people. Intimate partner violence is a really comparatively low number compared to other types of violence and all that kind of stuff. I'm not excusing it. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it at all at any time. One domestic violence incident, one intimate partner incident, one homicide is obviously too many. Obviously, I shouldn't have to say that, but this category that we're just brutes, we just don't do this, and we're just that. It's incorrect. It's incorrect. So I just want to make this video here to say, listen, we got to have love one for another, and if you can't get along with your own people, how are you going to get along with people who aren't yours, who don't have your best interests at heart, who don't have your skin complexion, and think that they are somehow better? I mean, or think that they're going to treat you somehow better. I think that the thing that we have to work on is ourselves, our circle of friends, our stigmas, our schemas, and how we look at and relate to the world, and putting people in categories and all this kind of stuff, right? Just because your father was no good, just because your brothers are no good, doesn't mean that the man who's of the same complexion in another part of town is no good. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. So, it's unfortunate that we continue to have this, and the war rages on. I sometimes think that we're making some progress. I make a video, I got a lot of positive feedback, and then I see this and I'm like, oh my God, we still have a lot of work to do. And I guess I shouldn't be overly optimistic. That's, shame on me for being overly optimistic about this, but we got a lot of work to do in order to really love each other, to really tear down the walls, to really have some open and honest conversations about the people who hurt us, people who traumatized us, people who let us down, people who left us out, left us back, forgot about us, abused us, took our love and all that for granted. Remember that video by Umar Johnson when he was in Australia? If I can find it, I'll clip it in here. Remember that video in which he was talking about the woman who refused to, the interviewer refused to say that she would be willing to help a man move up in the chain or get on or support him and all that because she had done it before.
Men because he didn't have the economics, but he had everything else. Sisters need to be careful not to fall into this European narrative of judging men primarily by how much they make.
I can agree with that. I think that these are two extreme scenarios here. Because I think if a man is, we're talking about financial equity, if he is making enough to build a household with you, to be a leader in the household, I think women are okay with that. I think that's not what they're getting. I think they're getting the other end of the spectrum. That's what we're hearing. You know what I mean?
Would you have a problem if you met a man who made half of what you made or a third of what you made, but he had a financial vision of an empire, a business, some sort of an entrepreneurial undertaking?
See, I think that's dangerous.
Stay with me.
I think that's dangerous.
Let me finish it, and then I want you to respond. And he needed you to help invest in his dream. And he gave you a definitive timeline. He said, give me 12 months or 24, no more than that. If you invest in me, I promise you what I'm going to build will equal where you are. Would you have a problem investing in him?
What does investing in him mean?
Let's say he needed $700 a month to help fuel this dream. He needed $700 for 24 months. Could you do it? You're reluctant.
I am
Tell me why you're
reluctant. I am
Tell me why.
reluctant because what's the guarantee?
There is no guarantees in love. There is no guarantees in romance.
And
If
also,
you need a
I think
guarantee, you can't get in it.
context matters. How long
I
have
agree.
we been together?
I agree.
You know, if it's just a guy that I met last year and all of a sudden he has these dreams and
No,
he
y'all
wants me
been
to
dating
fund
for
it.
about 2 years. You like him. There might even be some love there. And he's saying
There might be
invest
some
in
love
me.
there is crazy. There has to be some love there.
Let's say there
There
is.
has to be a future there. And I think that's what I'm saying. Context matters. If I see myself with
But
this
you didn't
man,
answer the question. Let's say
Yeah.
all those things are there. Will you financially invest in him? Be honest, my queen. They already answered for you. They said hell to the nizzo.
yeah. Look,
Why not, though? Why do you have a problem with that? Given the atmosphere of racism and economic oppression that black men suffer in Australia, why would you have a
but what
problem
are black
investing
men
in your
subject
king?
to that women are not? We're
Say that
going through
again.
the same thing.
True, but it operates differently. The racism against black men is significantly more aggressive than the racism against black women. Now, I don't want to get into an oppression Olympics because
yeah.
I agree with you. We all suffer and we suffer together. But a man's primary responsibility is to be a provider. And we don't feel adequate as men when we can't provide. So your king, who you love, who you've been dating for 2 or 3 years, is saying, baby, invest in me for these 18 to 24 months. And I promise you I will cross that finish line. You're still reluctant.
I'm
Why?
reluctant. I'm reluctant. As my husband, if we were married and something like that happened, of course, I would be open to doing that.
But would you be open to even marrying him if he was not the provider you needed him to be? He's saying, help me level up so I can become the person you want to marry. He's asking you to help him level up.
Now, I'm not in the place or in the mindset to say that, you know, a woman has an obligation to help a man to get up. I'm not ever going to say that. I think a man ought to really try to be his own man and really do what it takes in order to get to the place where he needs to be. Independent, particularly of a woman, but independent as possible, because that's the world that we live in. That's the capitalistic environment that we live in. But I would say this: if you're willing to hold down your girlfriends and let her move in and this, that, and the other, why would you not do it for a dude? Particularly one who you see promise in. I often remember Ebony K. Williams. I can never find that clip, but she definitely said, well, it'll take me a long time to find the clip, I should say, where she definitely said that, you know, when she was a lawyer working, and her man at the time, I think she said it on the Breakfast Club, was going to get his MBA, and he was getting his MBA, and she didn't want to support him anymore because she didn't want to take care of her man. You know, these are all the trauma type of stuff that people are going through. You know, I agree that men got to make their way and all this kind of stuff, and we got to do better and be better at all these different aspects of life. It's particularly when we're talking about socially with our women and all that kind of stuff, but. You know, when women do this type of thing and they get let down, burned in some way, you know, it hurts all of us, you know. So listen, I just want to kind of shed some light into this issue that we're still struggling with, we're still wrestling with. It's gender war. There's in no way going down. We would have nuked each other if we had the ability to by now. And it's unfortunate. I feel bad about it. I'm not happy about this at all. I don't gloat in this. I don't gloat in the excelling of one of us. And this is one thing that really, really bothers me when I hear that women say, men die earlier. We got more education. Our boys are falling behind, and it's almost like gloating. Like, why would you want your men in your life to be falling behind, whether you're romantically involved with them or not? Why would you want them to be falling behind? Particularly if you want leaders, protectors, and providers. Now, if you don't want that and you don't care, okay, well, that's one thing. But some of these are your brothers and your uncles and your cousins, and you're gloating in the fact that they're doing bad, or that they, because of whatever reason, that they may have a shortened lifespan. I mean, shouldn't we work on that? I mean, you want us to work on the lifespan of women who are still dying within childbirth, and breast cancer and ovarian cancer rates. All of this stuff I'm mentioning affects black women more, right? The ovarian cancer rates, the cysts, cysts on your uterus, and all this other kind of stuff, right? These are issues that you want men to care about. And I think we should care about that. These are our sisters, our mothers, our aunts. What are we talking about, right? So this gloating about that. I also don't like it, and I had a conversation last night as I record this. A great conversation about the gloating that men do oftentimes. When ladies are quote unquote old and dying alone, and they're got their box wines and cats and dogs, it's in gloating about that. Well, you should get with a man and stick with him, and all this other kind of stuff, which I don't want to go down that path. There's so much nuance to that, but I just want to draw attention to this. And I guess what I'm saying is a call to action to say, do what you can to stop this type of stuff. I watched a video today. I'm not going to play this video. But before I made this video, there's a video by Didi who I enjoy watching her content, in which she was going off about, Didi was reacting to another video about a woman who was ranting about black men in particular, not talking to black women when she's at grocery stores, she's at some place. A man will look her in the eye and then continue walking and not speak to her, right? This lack of camaraderie, lack of community that we have one for each other for this race. And this wasn't a thing back in the 70s. So this wasn't a thing probably back in the 80s, right? You walk by somebody, what's up, bro? You don't know this dude. You don't know this dude. You may never seen him before, and you may never see him again. But what's up, bruh? Because you understand this brother was in the same struggle that you were. For some reason, somehow, we don't call each other that anymore. We don't look at each other. We pass by each other. So I'm saying this is a call to action. I guess that's what I'll title this: a call to action, that we need to really kind of get back to speaking to each other. At least to a place where we are acknowledging each other's presence, humanity. That's why I have such a problem with the N-word. It really takes away from our humanity. I've heard the argument that it's a term of endearment and camaraderie. I'm not convinced, because as a former police officer, right, I've seen the videotapes of, when these dudes are shooting each other, what they're saying to each other. One black man shooting another black man, saying the same thing that the white man said when he was lynching a black man. Same words are coming out of his mouth. That's why I don't buy that. So this is a call to action to say we need to do better. We need to work on our love for each other, work on our camaraderie, work on our community, work on the way we talk about each other, work on the way that we interact with each other. And I'm talking about strangers, of course, family, of course, our interpersonal social relationships, yes, but our extended family, our non-family, our friends, our companionships, our neighbors that most of us probably don't even know. You live in a apartment complex and you don't know them. It's crazy. It's crazy what's going on, and our individualistic, capitalistic society has created, and in people who are marginalized more than other people. And as I've done a couple of videos of talking about this now, when these immigrants get here, they're not going to have the collective white guilt that other people have. They're not going to have it. These people from India and from China and from Mexico and Honduras and all of Latin America are going to get here and say, you didn't take care of the American dream, and then we're going to be on the outside fighting, trying to get more DEI, trying to get more affirmative action. People still talking about dating out and leaving. Listen, if you don't want the community, then let's just let it burn. Let's just let it burn. Everybody just date out and all this kind of stuff. But if you're concerned about our culture, our history, the things that our forefathers went through, were beaten for, lynched, our political and civic leaders assassinated, and all the stuff that we went through, the right to vote and the right to sit in where we wanted the bus, and right not to be lynched, and all the stuff that our people went through, all the court cases that we fought. If you can sit back and just say, the hell with those people and our past and our history, that's really a sad testament. It's really a sad testament. So, all right, so I just want to do that, just drop this as a call to action, I guess I'll call this, and to say, think about how you're treating the people who you don't know within your life, and what can you do to at least brighten their day. I mean, smile, wave. I'm not asking you to go out your way, because people they're still strangers and they might bonk you on the head. That's definitely true. I'm not saying it's not true. But at least a friendly gesture, at least a hello, at least a head nod, an acknowledgement of your presence and your humanity, and at least I see you, right? Was that, I didn't watch this movie in a while, right? Was that movie, Avatar, right? I see you, right? I see you. That's what I mean. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that all of James Cameron, the director of that, was all taken from native populations, and it was a real term, native human populations. I see you, not just I see you, but I acknowledge your presence. I acknowledge your humanity. I see the inner you. I understand you. I understand where you're coming from. That was always a black thing. That's what it meant. That's what bro meant. Brothers and sisters. So, all right, I labored on enough about that, but this is just a call to action, and I feel sorry that this ladies had to make these videos and feeling so excluded from the community and environment. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions. Hit me in the comments. Let's keep the conversation going. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and share.